Okay, you want me to state my name? All right, my name is Nnambi. I am the project manager for Keep It Green Electronic Recycling.
Got it. So, Mr. Nnamdi, so your production here is local. How long has it been here?
Uh, well, I've been on board for the last 4 years, but the business has been a little longer than that, maybe about 8, maybe 10 years.
Wow.
But at that time, it was very, very small time.
Okay.
We started out as a subcontractor
Gotcha.
to a for-profit um, commercial entity in the e-waste space. After that, my boss came on board. We decided to not be a sub anymore. That contract was given directly to us, and then we kind of took it from there.
Gotcha. So, talking to my audience, what can you define what e-waste is and how it works and
Okay. Well, I don't like the word e-waste
Okay.
to start off because waste has a negative connotation to it, and waste means something that has no value, right? What we do is e-recycling, all right, and that could be anything from the reuse of old electronics, and by reuse I mean the refurbishment of or the total recycling of electronic
Gotcha.
components. And that could be anything from your simple cell phone that you have there to your flat screen TVs to your older, bigger CRT TVs, and typically anything that you would consider electronic material.
And we have a lot of those.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
a
a
lot of
very
those.
broad spectrum. So what we say is anything that has a circuit board or a
Right.
wire
Okay.
attached to it is
Gotcha.
considered electronic, and then we can recycle it.
And valuable.
Like, everything has some value. Obviously, the value differs based on the material.
Right. Got it.
Right.
Gotcha. And my next question is, can you speak about just a little bit of the benefits of e-recycling?
Well, we can start with a few. So, there's always the environmental sustainability piece to this, right? So, by recycling your electronics, you're keeping hazardous materials out of the landfill. That's just a point blank, just a very basic foundation of it. Now, I'm just going to throw out a quick stat to you. E-waste, well, old electronics that have been thrown into the landfill comprises of 2%
Wow.
of the U.S.
Wow.
Landfill volume, but it also contributes to 75% of the total toxic waste in the landfill.
Wow.
So you can see just that little 2%
Right.
produces 75% of the waste.
Wow.
So by recycling your electronics, you're keeping hazardous materials out of landfill. And when I say hazardous materials, I'm talking about lead and mercury. Those are the two main ones,
Right.
lead and mercury. And you're keeping those materials out of the landfill. And at the same time, with the evolution of electronics, the life cycle has shortened a lot.
Right.
You're getting a new phone every year and a half maybe.
Exactly.
You're
Right.
getting a new laptop every 2 years.
Every iPhone every 6 months.
Exactly. So in the past, you would have a laptop for 5, 7 years. That's not the case anymore.
Right.
So because of that, the volume that we see has basically quadrupled.
Got it.
Right? Because the OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers, are pumping out these new versions every other 6 months to a year, and everyone is, basically getting the newest, hottest thing.
Gotcha. And my next question was, which you kind of already gotten a little bit about it, is the hazardous effects on the environment, which is lead and what was the other thing that you
Lead and
stated?
mercury.
Lead and mercury, and
Those are
that
the two main ones.
has great effect on the environment
Right.
itself, and that's just that's crazy to hear that it's that's a statistics right there just boggles my mind.
Right.
My next question was that working from their environment for numerous years, do you have any message for those individuals that are not kind of they don't know any information about it, and what can we do at home, and how do we
Well,
improve that?
All right, so that's kind of been the struggle in the industry is the education piece. Because right now everyone is used to, when they think of recycling, they think of paper, plastic, and I think glass, I guess. And they're used to it being curbside, correct? So you don't have to do any work; you just put it out on the curb. So that's what people are used to, and it feels like a free service because you're not paying outright for it, even though you're paying for it in your taxes. So the hurdle that we face in the industry is educating the public that electronic recycling is a specialized recycling service.
Correct.
All right. Right now, at the current state of the industry, there is no curbside pickup for
Okay.
this kind of thing. You have to bring it to a recycler, or most municipalities, what they're doing now is they have collection events where you go to your local landfill. They'll have a vendor there to take it for you, and usually it's either for free or a very small charge. So what can people do to help out is find out what your county or city is currently doing. Every county or city offers this service. You just have to ask, or find out the closest electronic recycler to you in your vicinity, and then give them a call and see
Correct.
if you can bring it in.
Gotcha.
Us being a nonprofit, our parent company is a nonprofit. One of the benefits that we offer individuals is any materials you bring in, you can get a tax benefit for that, and you can also write off any. You can also write off, any processing fees associated
Got it.
with recycling your electronics.
Gotcha.
Now, with the commercial entities, usually there is no, actually not usually, there's no tax benefit associated with it, and whatever you pay to recycle your electronics is what you pay.
Got it. Got it.
At least with us, you get to write it off
Yeah.
on some level.
Right, and that's good to know too. Especially with you guys being so close to, are we the only one that that
We
is-
are the only nonprofit in Northern Virginia
Northern
who
Virginia.
does recycling.
Got it.
I do have some, I guess you can call them business partners.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the nonprofit. I mean, they're in the for-profit realm. So their companies also
Right.
do recycling. So we're kind of competitors on some things, and sometimes we do business with each other.
Okay, great,
So
awesome,
it's,
awesome.
That's kind of how the industry is. Actually.
Right,
You're
exactly.
competing on a contract with somebody else, and the very next week you're doing business with them.
Oh wow,
So
okay, got it.
It's
It's a close relationship.
It's a small community.
small
to put it
community.
that way, yeah.
Right.
But it's growing.
It is going, and
Yeah.
it's a good thing that we need people like you to promote these things, and these
Well,
are very important.
We try our best to promote as much as we can.
Right, exactly. The next question that I have on my notes here is that as I guess individuals in our households ourselves, like how do we just reduce e-waste? Like, do we just not buy electronics? Like,
Well,
how do we?
I mean, we can't stop people from buying, and at the same time, the OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers, do a great job of selling. You know.
Yes, they do.
So, our stance is our fight is not with them, because without them we will be out of business.
Right.
Right. So we can't stop people from buying. What we can do is educate people to recycle responsibly, and that's the other thing. Not all recyclers are responsible recyclers. So it helps to do your due diligence. For one, they should have certifications. We have R2. The two certifications in the industry are R2 Rios or E-Stewards. You can have one, you can have the other ones, or you can have both.
Got
We
it.
have R2 Rios. And that alone should tell you that that the company is doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Gotcha.
To be environmentally responsible,
Right.
as well as operationally
Got it.
responsible.
So where do these once once an individual drops off their old electronics here and things like that, what are the process and where does it go?
Okay, so it's very hard to find a recycler that does everything.
Okay.
Right? And it's very hard to find a recycler that not only will collect the material, but will see the material all the way to the end of life stage. When we call end of life, is basically you bring me a laptop, we recycle it, we pull out the hard drive, the memory, the processor, the plastic, doesn't have any metal, and the motherboard, right? And then we recycle those components even further, because those components contain precious metals.
Correct.
The motherboard contains gold, the hard drive also contains gold, the RAM contains palladium and sometimes silver, as well as gold. So once you extract those metals out, that's really what this industry boils down to.
Okay.
All right? It ends up being precious metal selling.
Right.
So it's very hard to find a recycler that does everything to the point of melting down those components.
Yeah, right.
So for most recyclers, and you'll see with us, we do some breakdown in-house. We break down laptops. We refurbish laptops also for resale. We break down PCs. We break down servers. And then we aggregate all these different like items components, and then we'll send them to a downstream recycler.
Wow.
So it's a chain.
Got it.
Behind every recycler is another recycler who does more than the first recycler.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
so the recycler that we will then use he probably has a network. He or she probably has a network of 10
Multiple.
recyclers, and then as he's gaining more volume, he's able to then move his volume down to a smelter.
Gotcha.
And at that point, the smelter will melt everything down for end of
Got
life
it.
use.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. And my second to last question is that what do you see in the future of e-recycling?
What do I see, or what would I like to see?
What would you like to see?
Honestly, I would like to see legislation at the state level that one bans not only individuals from dumping, but companies
Correct.
from dumping, right? And we would also like to get some sort of financial help, because part of the thing with recycling is depending on what you're recycling, there's a cost associated with it.
Right.
Right now, the most difficult thing to recycle are CRT TVs, which are the very old, bulky ones. They contain leaded glass.
Wow.
So that's very dangerous and is very, very costly to recycle.
Okay.
I know in some states in the country are looking to legislation to basically to say companies like Sharp or Samsung, you guys are the ones producing these items. You should also bear some of the cost of making sure they're recycled responsibly.
Very.
If it means some sort of tax available where then recyclers can then I guess tap that pot to make sure that we
Right.
have the funds necessary, that's so be it. Because at the end of the day, what ends up happening, like any business, is if there's no subsidies involved, if there are no corporate subsidies involved, guess who picks up the tab?
Yeah.
The consumer.
Exactly.
And we would,
Exactly.
because this is a much needed service, we want to make it as easy as possible for the consumer to say, I want to recycle my goods.
Right.
Because if the consumer has to keep paying, I mean, is a deterrent to recycle. So that's what I like to see. I would like
Gotcha.
to see more education. I would like to see some corporate subsidies
Yes.
involved.
Definitely.
And I would like to see the OEMs held accountable. also.
Definitely. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And my last question is that do you have any messages for these big companies that are not taking these responsibilities of responsible recycling?
I think and some, this is not for all of them. I know some of them are proactive and some of them have partnered with recyclers, right? But I think there needs to be more collaboration. Because they're at the beginning stage, we're at the end of life stage.
Got it.
There has to be some collaboration with the OEMs to say, hey, we have a network of recyclers that we use and see how we can work together.
Gotcha.
Because this problem is not going away. It's only going to get worse.
Yep.
The technology evolves every year. There's new technology coming out, so that means there has to be new processes on how to recycle that technology. Right now, I think the trend for CRT is we're going to see a decrease in volume in the stream for CRT glass in 2020.
Wow.
But we already see what's coming right behind that, which is LCD TVs.
Right.
So even if we get all the CRT leaded glass out of the stream,
You still have new
LCD, the newer technology, LCD,
Right.
LCD TVs, LCD monitors, which contain mercury, is coming right behind that.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's a lot of things.
It's a lot of things coming, right? So you just have to be proactive, basically.
Gotcha. And is there anything that I can take and my audience can take about e-recycling that's important to you, or any other messages that you'd like to come across?
I think we pretty much covered it. It's well, data security. I don't think we talked about that. So with data security is something that we take very seriously here, as all recyclers should, because again, technology evolving. Almost every technology has some sort of memory on it, some sort of hard drive. So with data security, if you're recycling your laptop, your desktop, your phone, you should ask a lot of questions. How do you wipe the memory? How do you wipe the information from there? Where does the hard drive go when you're done with it? Things like that. Right now, with a lot of take-back programs, like Best Buy has a lot of them, all the phone companies have it. You simply bring in your phone, they give you a new one, nobody asks any questions.
Nope.
But your phone has all your information on it.
Yep.
And you have no clue if it's wiped or not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just one small example of how trusting people can be.
It is.
So you should ask a lot of questions.
A lot of questions. Thank you so much, sir.
No
Thank you for
problem.
everything.
Anytime.